Alright, now that my paint is dry, I'm about to start drilling my holes for my positive and negative wires right in here. And I found a piece of material around the house that will be great for just supporting the wires. I mean, you can just drill the holes inside the plywood and just use silicone to just wrap it up in, just to keep the water and things from getting into it. But I just wanted to give it a little bit nicer look on the back end of it, so I'm just going to use this material that I found. I have several of them, but it's just up to you. How do you want to go about it? Alright, so what I'm using to do this is just a regular drill, and I just picked a drill bit based off what I was going to use to actually hold the wires. So it just again depends on how wide you want it, how big you want it, and this was just a nice suitable size to fit this inside the board. So I'm just going to drill 2 holes here. Now that I got a nice size hole, what I'm going to do is just take some basic sandpaper and just sand it down to make it a little smoother. You don't want to sand it too much to make the paint come up, but just to get rid of some of these rigged edges from the drilling that you did. And you'll probably have to do it on the back as well. That should do it. And what I'm going to do next is take my material that I'm using. I'm not really sure what the name is of what I'm using, so that's the reason why I haven't really stated that. But again, you can use anything that you have around the house, or just, I think some people use rubbing garment, but again, it's just up to you how you want to do it. And what I'm going to do now, once I put this in here, I'm going to take a smaller drill bit and drill through the center of this, just so I can have a space so I can actually put the wire in there and bring it out through the bottom. And I'm going to put another one of these in the bottom of the board as well, so it's going to be 2 of these all together. Alright, so I have my drill bit set up here, and I'm just going to go ahead and place this in my hole. Take my drill bit and start to drill in the middle of it. And what I'm using for the wires is going to be a 20 gauge wire. So again, depending on the type of wire you need, it's going to determine how wide you need your hole. So I just probably need to go a little bit wider, not too much, but just a little bit wider. That should do it, and I'm going to put silicone around this as well, so it's going to have a nice snuggly fit when I'm done with it. So I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. Alright, just start drilling again. And that's probably pretty good. And I'm probably just going to flip it over and do the same thing with the other side. Again, I'm just having to find different techniques of doing this as I go, really, as you can tell. But yeah, I'm just going to flip it over, do the same thing with it, and probably go ahead and put some type of glue, or I can put silicone in it to just hold them down in place. And then I'm probably just going to go ahead and run the wire through it just so that it'll be out of the way as well. Alright, so now I flip the board around and I'm just going to do the same thing. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some silicone around the edges of it just to go ahead and get that part out of the way, because it's a little loose on the back and I don't want these falling out. And what I have is just some clear all-purpose silicone, and I just have my regular gun. And what you want to do when you do actually use silicone is cut this at an angle, not just straight up, but at an angle. And it just helps it when you're trying to apply it to the actual plywood. Alright, so I'm just going to put a little around it, not too much. And I have a little tool. I mean, you can have a screwdriver if you want to. I'm just going to work it around the edges of it, just trying to make sure it's actually around it, because we definitely don't want any water getting between this. I'm probably just going to put a little bit more silicone on it as well, and in these cracks that I have. This probably like one of the most critical steps that you have, is making sure that the silicone is covering every crack that you can possibly have. Because if water gets in here with that pixel glass on top of it, I mean, we're going to have a whole lot of trouble. And when I get done with the wires, when I actually place them inside the hole here, I'm going to probably put some more silicone around it, because the wires will have a little extra space. But I'm going to do that when I actually am done with the whole thing, when I know I have enough wire. So that's another area where we're going to place silicone eventually. And I'm just going to do the same thing to the other one. And it's a little messy right now, but I'm just going to go back behind myself and clean it up, just to make it look a little nicer. And that's about what I got for my finish. I just used my hand to work around it. Try to get it a little bit smoother, nicer look, not too bulky like it was before. Make sure it's around the edges. And there you have it. And we're just going to do the same thing to the other side. So it's a pretty simple process, but just making sure that you have all the cracks and everything covered with silicone. Alright, now I brought my pegboard and my plywood back in, and I put my solar cells back on it. And again, I used the spacers, tile spacers, to give it a even look. And as you can see down here, I just put in a temporary wire just to make sure that the silicone wasn't gonna block the hole. So I just put that in there just for that purpose. And what I'm also gonna do right now is start to glue the solar cells down to the pegboard, and I'll show you how I'm gonna do that in a second. And what I'm also gonna do is just go ahead and just start to solder this bus wire down up here, and I can go ahead and do that without having my third column in here. So I'm just going to go ahead and solder this down, this bus wire here. Alright, so as far as gluing these down, I'm just going to use silicone. And I'm just going to put about a quarter size amount on here, and we're going to put it like in the middle. And the reason for just putting it inside the middle is because wood expands and contracts during the summer and the winter. And we don't want to put the silicone on the edges, because we need to have our solar cells to be able to flex along with the plywood as it expands and contracts. Hey guys, to speed up the process of me getting the rest of the videos out, just subscribe to this video, as it does show me you guys are interested, and I try to speed up the process of getting the rest of the videos out, as I do have to edit these and I do try to make them interesting. So again, just subscribe to the video, and I try my best to get them out a little quicker for you guys.